Hey, all you amazing chefs out there, we have a great show for you today. We're glad you're back, and we have a really nice salmon dish that we're going to be making today and a really nice pork tenderloin that we're going to be making today. I'd like to send a shout out to our friends over at Benny Keith. Thank you so much for providing all of the great products that we have here today. We have pork tenderloin that we're going to be wrapping with bacon. We're going to be making a little bit of a Spanish chorizo sauce. And this isn't just like your regular sort of Mexican chorizo that just kind of starts to break up. This one is more of like a cured ham, cured meat. And what we like to do with that, if we're not cooking with it, we like to eat it with a little bit of cheese, a little bit of wine, a little bit of crackers. Really great stuff for you that we have here today. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy the show. The first thing that we're going to start off with is we're going to go ahead and work on our pork tenderloin here. So of course, you know, we got to season it with a little bit of kosher salt, and we got to season it with a little bit fresh cracked pepper. And make sure you season both sides. This way you got flavor all around. Got our black pepper, we have our salt. And what I did here was we laid out some thin slices of bacon. And what we're going to do is just going to roll these guys up. I like to put it on a little bit of parchment paper, so this way it helps when we're rolling it. Get that guy stuck on there. And we're just going to roll this guy over till it's nice and coated with the bacon. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the part that is wrapped over, and we're going to go ahead and put that in our saute pan. And we're going to give it a nice sear, and then we're going to finish it in the oven for just about maybe 10-12 minutes. So we're going to take our bacon wrapped pork that we got here. And you hear that really nice sizzle. We're going to take, I've got about 3 stalks of celery. And we're going to take a little bit of garlic. I got about a really nice chunk of half a clove of garlic. And we're going to go ahead and just let this kind of sit in there. We're going to give it a really nice sear. We want that bacon to just kind of come together, so this way when we flip it over it doesn't come apart. So we're just going to let this guy go here. We got about maybe about medium heat. Again, we want to make sure that we hear that sizzle. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start working on one of our side dishes. We have some cauliflower here, and I have a little bit of leftover garlic that we're going to take and we're going to rub all over the cauliflower. I actually got this recipe from one of my aunts. My Aunt Stella, she makes a really nice cauliflower with garlic and olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of olive oil on top. And you got to make sure that you season it. Got to have that salt, got to have that pepper. All right. I'm going to take just a little bit of minced onion. It's my little variation right there. And we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of butter to it. And we're just going to toss these guys around. And you want that butter, the olive oil to get just kind of coated right there. And if you see a little bit of the garlic and a little bit of the onion fall to the bottom, I usually just pick that back up, put it right on top. And we're going to pop these guys in the oven just until they're nice and roasted. Usually it takes about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and we usually cook them for about maybe 350 degrees. And once it gets really nice and brown, you get that caramelization from the onions as well as the garlic, they're going to be ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and throw these guys in the oven. We're going to let our pork go ahead and sear for just maybe another 2 or 3 minutes or so. And then we're going to pop these guys in the oven for about 10 minutes as well. This guy cooking on this side. We're going to go ahead and turn it over a little bit. I'm going to get it just to where that bacon's starting to kind of flap over. This way it creates a really nice seal. We got some really good caramelization happening. Get some really good color there. And I'm gonna let this guy go for another couple of minutes on this side. I wanna say maybe between 3 and 5 minutes, depending on how hot your pan is. And I just try to make sure that we keep it flat so that way it gets a really nice sear on all sides. What we have here is our potato. We went ahead and diced it up. We're gonna make a really nice simple mashed potatoes, butter, salt, pepper, some heavy cream, make them really nice, kind of, you know, just homemade. And so what we're gonna do is take this guy, we'll pop this one in the oven, and we're gonna go ahead and let our potatoes cook for about maybe 10-15 minutes or so, just until they're nice and soft. And then we're gonna go ahead and mix those guys up with our butter and heavy cream. And probably around that time, we should be ready to go with our pork. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy, pop it in the oven, and give it about 10 or 15 minutes in there. So. Okay, chef, so we have our pork bacon wrapped in the oven, and we're gonna go ahead and start working on our salmon dish. We have a little salmon, we got a little orzo pasta. We're gonna drop in some boiling water. Takes about maybe 9 to 10 minutes on this guy. We're gonna go ahead and bring that up. We're gonna add just a little bit of salt in there. Wanna make sure that it tastes like seawater. You don't want it to be salty, overly powerful, but you do want to have a little bit of salt in there to where you can actually like get some flavor into your pasta. So we're gonna take care of that. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to our pan. And we're gonna go ahead and take our salmon that we're gonna season. And I'm actually gonna do 2 different ways with our salmon. If you like the skin on the salmon, keep it on. We're gonna go ahead and put that guy skin side down and get that guy nice and crispy. And then we're gonna take our other piece of salmon and we're gonna let that guy go as well. And we're gonna go ahead and season the other side. We gotta season both pieces. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Gotta make sure that we get all of that flavor in there. One of the most important parts, salt and pepper. If you have a really good piece of salmon, that's really all you need. If you wanna season it with a little Cajun season, blacken it, a little Montreal season, that's fine. But I really enjoy the flavor of the salmon by itself. I think just the salt and pepper really help bring out that flavor. So we're gonna go ahead and let that guy sear for a little bit. We have our orzo pasta that's gonna be working for about 9 or 10 minutes. And with our side dish for our bacon wrapped pork, we took a little bit of potatoes and we diced them up. We added them some water and we're gonna make a really nice mashed potato. And then what we're gonna do with our Spanish chorizo is we're gonna go ahead and cut this guy up. And then what we're gonna do is once our pork is done, we're gonna go ahead and add these to our saute pan. I'm gonna fry these guys up just for a few seconds. It's already cooked, so you really don't need to do too much to it. We'll let these guys go. We're gonna let these guys cook for just a couple minutes. And when we see that we have some really nice color, wanna check it? We're close. Not quite. I'm gonna let it go just a few minutes longer on this side. Same thing with this one. You can see our skin's starting to get nice and crispy. So we're gonna let that guy go. And we're gonna go ahead and pop these guys in the oven. And as you can see, this is for our pork dish. We have the roasted cauliflower with the garlic, the olive oil, and it's got some really good color to it. Looks like it's nice and roasted. I'm just gonna put this guy off to the back, so that way when we're ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and pull our pork out. As you can see, it's got a really nice color all the way around. Our bacon is really starting to stick to our pork. And our celery that we put in there in the very beginning is nice and roasted. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Spanish chorizo, throw that guy in there. We're gonna go ahead and let that just cook up for another minute or two. We have some asparagus here that we're gonna go ahead and just cut the ends off. I like to cut them at a really sharp angle. That way you have a really nice sort of presentation to it. Looks really good. And we're gonna stick these guys on this side of our pan. I'm gonna hit them with just a little bit more olive oil. Just a tiny little pinch of pepper. A little bit of salt. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a couple of these cherry tomatoes. Got some yellow tomatoes, little red tomato. And we're gonna just pop this guy back in the oven for about, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. We're right where we want to be. I can tell how it feels. We're trying to get to just well done. We'll let those guys go in, and then we're gonna go ahead and start on our mashed potatoes next. We're gonna mash these guys up, add a little bit of the butter, a little bit of the cream, and make sure that they taste extra great. All right, great. So we have our potatoes here. We're gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of heavy cream. I got about a pound of potatoes, got about a half cup of heavy cream, got about 2 tablespoons of butter. Gotta have the butter, love the butter. Hit it with a little salt, hit it with a little pepper, and we're gonna go ahead and mash these guys up. All right, so these guys are nice and creamy. We're gonna go ahead and stir these up. And then we're gonna go ahead and add these to our pastry bag. I like to put them in a pastry bag. We're gonna pipe them out. We got a really nice plate here that we're gonna be using to put those on. I'm gonna go ahead and check on our pork. It looks like it's about ready to go. And we'll pull everything out of the oven. We have our roasted cauliflower here. And we have our asparagus with our Spanish chorizo. We got a celery a little mixed in there. And we're gonna go ahead and pull this guy off. We're gonna go ahead and let that rest for about 2 or 3 minutes. Slice it up and we'll start plating everything. All right, so our salmon is ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this guy out of the oven for the first time. So as you can see, we have a really nice color on one side and our skin is nice and crispy on the other. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and pull these guys and have them set right there. And what we're gonna do is take a little bit of yellow squash that I had and just a little bit of our French green beans, and we're going to saute these guys for just about maybe 2 or 3 minutes. A little extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to season these guys up really nice, and we're going to go ahead and let these guys saute for about 2 or 3 minutes. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and chop up some green onions. We're going to chop a little bit of parsley and mince up a little bit of red onion. We're going to make sort of a tabbouleh style orzo pasta. Got to make sure you have plenty of parsley. So we'll move these guys off to the side. About 1/8 of an onion. I like using purple onions. I think they have a little bit more flavor. It gives it a really nice sort of crunch. All right, so I'm gonna pull my orzo pasta off. And then I'm gonna grab my strainer. We're gonna go ahead and strain the pasta, and then we're gonna mix everything together. And we're gonna add all our parsley and our red onions. Squeeze a good amount of lemon juice in there. I have just a tiny little bit of garlic that we're gonna go ahead and mince. We're gonna go ahead and add that to our orzo. Add just a little bit of olive oil to it. I really love the flavor and the freshness from the parsley. I think those green onions help add some really awesome flavor. Makes it taste amazing. And I'm gonna go ahead and check on our green beans as well as and it looks like our yellow squash is ready to go. So I'm gonna pull these guys off, set them on our cutting board. And I'm gonna let the green beans go for about another minute or so. Put this guy on, we're gonna lower that temp. And we're gonna go ahead and start plating this guy up. So add a little bit of the pasta to the center of our plate. And then we're gonna pull our green beans. These guys are ready to go. And we're gonna set those guys on our cutting board right here. And I have a little bit of sauteed spinach, or a little bit of spinach that I'd like to saute. And we're gonna add just a little lemon to it. This doesn't take any hardly time at all. A little salt, a little pepper. And I just wanted to wilt just a little bit. I'm not trying to cook it too far down. As you can see, we're gonna use that same pan that we had, the one that we used for our salmon, as well as our green beans and our yellow squash. I like the spinach to have just a little bit of a crunch to it, so I don't saute it too far down. And we're gonna go ahead and set that right around it. I think that lemon gives it a really nice burst of flavor. Move this guy out of our way. All right, so we'll take a few of our green beans and a few of our yellow squash. Just kind of mix those guys together. And depending on what you like, if you'd like to use the one with the skin side, we've got nice and crispy, or if you want to just use the one without, you can use that one as well. And from the leftovers, we're gonna go ahead and make a real quick pan sauce. We have a little bit of our white wine. Now we gotta taste it. It's really good. This is our Sauvignon Blanc. We're gonna add a little bit of that to our pan. We're gonna take some of our cherry tomatoes. Slice these guys up. About 2 of each. And we're gonna season them with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Drop these guys in our pan. And we're gonna bring that guy up to a high heat. And we're gonna finish it off with a little bit of butter. And we wanna just let our butter sort of melt a little bit. You wanna keep moving it. If you wanna add a little bit more butter, feel free to add more butter. And then we're gonna just top this guy off. And there you go, we have our sauteed spinach with our orzo pasta, a little chopped parsley, and our sauteed salmon. Enjoy. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our 2 dishes that we had. Some quick, simple dishes that you can always make at home. We had our bacon wrapped pork tenderloin and our sauteed salmon. We hope you join us next time when we have some more amazing chef creations. And we'd like to send a special thank you to our friends over at Benny Keith for providing and sponsoring us with all of these great products that we were able to showcase today. And we look forward to seeing you on our next show. Have a good one.